Good morning, everybody. We're on episode 4 of the Foster Flip, and clearly I'm going to have to probably say this in every video just so I don't get comments. I understand it's not a flip, it is a new build. I did the Flippin Foster because of the alliteration. Anywho, I am updating you because I have a hole in the ground now. Officially, I'm standing in it. Let's see, we're quite a switch. If you notice here, I've got a Carhartt and jeans on. We are at the end of September, 28th, I think, for today. Might be the 27th or 29th. They all run together, unfortunately, when I'm doing this kind of stuff. So, where was I? Hole in the ground. Last week I finished up with, getting the house and concrete off from the property. That took me a total of 11 dumpsters. Way back when, I don't think I ever actually recorded this, my prediction on video, which I wish I would have. My prediction was 10 dumpsters. After I found out I couldn't get 40-yard dumpsters and they wouldn't send me 30-yard dumpsters, my prediction was 10 20-yard dumpsters, and I actually ended up fitting the house in 11. So that's not bad. Sometimes I overestimate, sometimes I underestimate, but that, in my opinion, was pretty close to dead on. Obviously, I had one more than I predicted, which that's fine. That happens to me sometimes, and sometimes it's the other way. I'll have one less, not necessarily dumpster, but of whatever it is I'm doing. So I was pretty happy about that. The dumpsters came in right where they needed to. In my opinion, I made money because of how much they had set aside for the removal cost versus what I spent, because I did most of the work myself and bought the dumpsters myself. The difference would then go into my pocket, or in this case, the difference is going to probably go into my kitchen. I intend to have a pretty bad kitchen, and I'm not even a cook. I think nice kitchens are fun to hang out in. I know that's odd, but that's what I am. Flippin' Remington. I stand around in kitchens that are nice, I guess. Anyway, we have a hole in the ground. I am doing foam. Let's see. They're called insulated concrete forms, and they look like giant Legos. They're like 4 feet long, 16 inches high. These ones are roughly 11 1/4 inches wide on the outside. They have a 6-inch core, and they come hollow in the middle. The 6 inches in the middle is hollow, and you stack these blocks. As you can see, I'll tell you about that trench in a second. As you can see, I got corners. Yeah, you got corners there, and we got strings stretched out and everything. The strings are for me and Dad to get the footings straight and at the right depth and level and everything. And then the concrete forms, the foam block forms, will sit on top of the footings after we pour them. And then you get this big pump truck, and they basically pump concrete down into the center of these forms. So when you're all said and done, you have insulation on the outside, insulation on the inside, and a concrete core with what's called rebar. And it's a steel rod every so often, and I believe Dad's getting the specs on how often those need to be, every couple of feet or every 10 feet. I'm not sure, and they change the codes on stuff like that kind of frequently, so it doesn't make sense to retain that information, because the next one I do, it's going to be different again. So that's something that you always just go and check on, and that's being checked on right now. Last time, on this side of the house over here, I was mentioning that I was going to keep my trailer between my house and my the east property line. Turns out that due to the sewer drain location, I needed to move the house 1 more foot to the west, which gives me 10 feet on this side. So that's a plus. That gives me extra room for my trailer. And that brings us to the trench that I pointed out earlier. So I got this little trench here. That's my sewer. What happened is the old foundation ran somewhere, oh wait, hold on, right about here is where the old foundation ran in a straight line, roughly. And the sewer ran over here, and then it started to turn and go that way. And it just so happened that where I decided I wanted to place my new house on the property, put the sewer line underneath the supporting wall for a good 25 feet, and that's a no-no. You don't do that. So we moved the house over a foot, and this is what we have. I'll show you. I'll walk back this way a little bit. That's what we have, and this orange line is where the exterior wall will be. The footing will stick out a little bit further to the west, about 3 inches, and it'll stick out 3 inches on the other side as well, underneath the concrete floor. And the reason I'm leaving this trench here is because the bottom of this trench will get filled with a little extra concrete. The rest of the footings after I dig them won't be as deep as that, but you don't want to put you don't want to build on disturbed soil. So if I was to fill that in and make it the right height, it would technically be disturbed soil, so it'll get concrete instead. And it's probably going to be about 2 wheelbarrow fulls extra, so it's not like it's a cost thing. As for removing the dirt, it took me about 6 days. And one of the days I wasn't here at all, and I didn't have any help. I didn't have someone else running the skid steer. I did it all myself. So technically it was 5 days over a 6-day period. And I had a total of I had a total of 4 trenches, or not trenches, ramps, for getting the skid steer and the dirt out of the hole. So right there was my first trench, and right here, you can't see that one as well, was my second trench. My third trench was right here, and then my last one, trench, I keep calling them trenches, they're ramps, I'm sorry, and my fourth ramp was right here for getting dirt and dirt in and out of the hole. Well, technically I also used the first 2 for getting concrete out because I had basement walls that needed to be removed, and the third ramp, this one right here, that ramp was more or less where the old stairway used to be. So when I removed the stairs, I decided maybe I can drive out this way, and I tried it, and it didn't work because it was too steep. So I took that load of concrete out to the trailer up a different ramp, came back around up top and pushed down, and then I had a decent ramp. So I think I'm just about out of stuff to tell you. I mean, it's a hole in the ground. I'm surprised I've talked this long about it, but you know me. All right, I have a small lot. Well, it's a city lot. It's a normal sized lot in Ludington. But I grew up in the country, so a large lot is like 100 acres or more. A small lot is like 5 acres, so 160 by 60, I don't remember how big 140 by 60, it's freaking tiny. I'm used to pull and fill from another 5 acres away, and that kind of stuff, and here I was scrounging for areas to put dirt. So I have a dirt pile up front, and then I have a dirt pile back here. And what I ended up doing was, because the dirt piles are taller than what I can dump with the skid steer, so what I ended up doing was up front here, I dumped a strip out by the sidewalk and a strip by the hole. And that pretty much put 2 rows of dirt next to each other. And then I made a ramp. See if I made a ramp here in the center, and I poured another strip of dirt up in the center and had to drive the skid steer up the first 2 piles to pour the third pile. And then the one in the back was similar. I basically poured a big, I don't know, kind of like a circle shape, and then made a ramp up into the center of it, and then was able to steer and keep dumping on top of the dirt that I'd already dumped. It worked. It's not ideal, but it worked, and I think I can still get around the hole where all I need to and still be able to work. And of course, you know, the hole has to be overdug. Obviously the hole is bigger than the house is going to be, and that's because you have to work when you're down there. So I think that's it, guys. Things are coming along. I'm really excited. The old house is 100% out of here, and the new house is at 0.01% installed. The hole in the ground is the first thing, and the next thing I'm going to start digging trenches for the installation of my footings. And for those of you that don't know what footings are, that is the concrete base that goes in the ground well below the walls and the floor, and that is the bare bones bottom of your structure, and that's what all of the weight sits on, is the footings. Other people call it the foundation, although foundation can count as the entire basement. So the footings are actually the bare bones bottom. And you know, maybe someone watching this might say that my terms are wrong or off or a little incorrect or whatever. It is what it is. They're footings. So I just can't believe the beginning of September I was shorts and no t-shirt, and I'm down to jeans and a Carhartt now, with a hoodie on underneath. And I'm not looking forward to the cold part, but other than that, I'm looking forward to getting things rolling. My next video, I'll probably update when we have some basement walls and a floor, maybe a beam, something along those lines. It's always an adventure. Thanks, guys.